You are now inside the trenches with former national champion and Super Bowl champion, Marlon Favorite. Marlon will give you in-depth insight on some of the top stories in the world of sports with a little Southern flavor. Here's your host, Marlon Favorite.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of Inside the Trenches. It's your host, Marlon Big Favorite, and I'm excited about today's show. My next guest, if you follow football the last couple years in the NFL, you may know her from NFL Total Access. She has her hands in all kind of things right now, doing entertainment as well. Right out of the streets of Baltimore, Maryland, my good friend, Amber Theoharis. Welcome to Inside the Trenches, Am. What's happening?
What's happening, Big Fave? You know, I always love coming on your show, and I'm a big fan of yours. I always keep up with you and what you're doing.
That means the world to me. As you know, I do likewise. We'll get into that in a second. Y'all make sure y'all follow Amber at AmberTheo1 on Instagram and Twitter. So before we get into the football stuff, which, you know, we could do that in our sleep. Y'all, Amber's been in the business for well over 20 years, very experienced in broadcasting and being a host on national shows, international shows as well. We're going to get into the football stuff. That's the cool stuff that's on the surface. I saw you on your Instagram with one of my favorite musical inspirations ever, Smokey Robinson. Robinson, I saw you with. And like I said, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, hold on, that's Motown right there. I'm a huge fan of the Temptations, early Jackson 5 work. I mean, we could go on and on. How did you get with Smokey? Talk to me about that.
Oh, my gosh, Fave. You know, I've done a lot of great things and fun things in my life, and I've always jumped big. But I have to say this project, you know, I have very few moments in my life now because of my career where I just pinch myself and I'm like, whoa. I can't believe I'm doing this. And I had that moment all day yesterday. I'm working on a project with Smokey Robinson that, you know, you and I are both, you know, people of faith. And I really think God has just had his hands in my career lately and just kind of pushing me in directions that I would have never thought of. But a project came to me in a roundabout way through some other projects I was doing. 2 projects in animation, and I love animation. And a really talented writer, director, animator named Scott Christian Sava. You might have seen his movies. His movie Animal Crackers. I'm sure your little ones watched it on Netflix this summer. He wanted to do a couple more animated movies and wanted me to help produce him, help him with some creative ideas, and help him with the business side. And I said sure. And I brought one of the projects is a musical. It's a musical anthology with animation, and we take legends and take their music catalog and create fictional stories for animation, and we have young artists cover their songs. So it's like this amazing dream musical project because I get to pick who I want to target, and obviously Smokey Robinson, I grew up loving him, and there's no bigger legend for me when it comes to R&B and soul music and pop. And so through my partner, Phil Quartararo, who is the former CEO of Virgin Records, he was able to bring Smokey to the table, and I pitched Smokey, and he loved the idea. He loved the songs that I wanted to build the project around. And I mean, wow, just sitting and then, you know, having him invite me to his house to do a writing session. I was blown away. And then you're sitting there in his mansion.
Like, wow.
You know, you can imagine what that man has made in royalties in his life. And not just the songs he's written. I mean, he wrote songs for the Temptations. He wrote songs for Diana Ross. I mean, he wrote a ton of Motown songs. And to see these pictures over his shoulder of like him and Marvin Gaye, but it's not the pictures we're used to of them on a red carpet or them performing. It's them hanging out as boys. They were best friends. And so to be allowed inside his life, and then the project for him to tell me the heart behind the songs and the stories of why he wrote each song. Holy moly. I mean, Fave, it's been so cool. It's been so cool.
And this is fire. I really like that. And when you talk about Smokey, I think about Baby, Let's Cruise Away.
Oh, of course.
Well, all that good music.
Break it down. Look at your little voice. Look at your voice. I didn't know you had little pipes there, babe.
See, I guess I was being modest at NFL broadcast boot camp. I've been dibble dabbling in music for a while. I'm going to have to send it out to LA to you. I'm working on a new project from balling to broadcasting. Along with it's going to be a book and it's going to be music. So I dropped the first song
Oh
off of
my,
Gorilla. So yeah, I'm crazy about
woo!
music. Big dog.
I know, I know. I watch you like dropping mixtapes left and right. I'm like, dang, look at Big Fave. I mean, you got multiple talents, and I like that you're flexing all of your talents. You know, I teach at USC, and the number one thing I teach my media students is keep your hands in everything. You know, being in sports, being in entertainment, keep your hands in everything. You don't have to stay in one lane these days. It's the beauty of our business now, and you're doing exactly that. I'm so proud of you.
Now, y'all on Inside the Trenches, y'all know what Amber get for that one. Hello, somebody.
Hello, somebody.
So, okay, so that's big time. That's a cool project you're working on, an animation. You start thinking of those DreamWorks type programs and, the different movies. Again, my kids are also familiar with all of them. You've also been doing some other work as well. Another show that I'm a fan of is The Game. And I noticed you worked with Pooch Hall here lately. Talk to us about that endeavor with Pooch Hall.
Yeah, this is another, if you would have told me at the beginning of last year, this is what I'd be doing, I'd say, no way. But the pandemic led me to kind of go down some avenues I would not have. And it's led to some amazing things. And one of them was this trivia app called Quik, that Brian Baldinger, Baldy,
Yeah.
from NFL Films, Baldy's Breakdowns. He was invested in this app, and it was a trivia app, and he had some friends in Jersey, some big businessmen that were doing it. And they wanted some people to help host these trivia questions. I said, sure, I'm just sitting at home, and they said, you could do it at home. So I said, sure, I'll do it. That somehow led to, of course, Big Fave, I never do anything half-ass. Like, I'm
Straight
going to
up.
stick my hands deep into it. So I saw what they were doing. I thought it could be better. The producer and me started giving them ideas, and that led to them giving me a gig as the vice president of programming. And so of original programming. So it was really my idea, my role to be the lead creative on how these shows would look. And, I knew we had to get a celebrity, and through some connections, I love Pooch Hall too. And to find out he was available and loved what we were doing, he loved the pitch. I couldn't believe it. And fast forward now, and he's our main primetime host. The app is growing completely. Hey, everybody go to Apple and Google Play and download. It's free to download if you like trivia. There's a lot of ways to win free money. It's free to play. And if you do well at it, we put money right into your PayPal account. It's such a great concept. And you get to see Pooch deliver the content. And he's as cool as you think he is on Ray Donovan and The Game. He's even cooler in person. He is a modest, kind-hearted, he's so humble. We've just become very close. I mean, that's my brother from another mother, and I'll work with him on any project. I'm actually writing some other things for him right now.
Well, I'm your brother from another mother too. So if you gotta write me and something, I'm gonna say it on the show. You don't forget about your boy out here, the 504, baby.
You know what, Fave? You know what? One of the projects I was asked to help write has to do with sports, and it's a drama. And I said they wanted to set it in Vegas or set it in Atlanta. I pitched New Orleans. So, we need some actors down that way. I might hit you up.
Hey, straight up, and I'll be right here waiting on you. Speaking of hitting up, right? We know that right now we're in NFL free agency, and a lot of guys are hitting up these organizations with big paychecks being granted to them. Let's start here in New Orleans. Let's start here in the Big Easy. This week, big news was Drew Brees retiring. What's your thoughts on Drew Brees retiring from New Orleans this year? And just talk to me. You've worked with the NFL Network for so long. I know you and I were down in New Orleans for Total Access. What that was a 2019 training camp. Talk to us about
Yeah,
just covering Drew Brees over the time.
man, what a legend. I knew this was coming. A couple years ago, I said, we're going to come to the end of an era. It'll be Peyton Manning, and then the Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees and Tom Brady. I thought, would all these mega quarterbacks that I kind of came up with in my career would be retiring around the same time. and Brady, I don't know what the heck's going on with that boy. He just keeps going. I mean, I don't know what he's drinking in the water, but I want some of whatever he's drinking, because it's like the fountain of youth. But for Drew Brees, just to see him last season fight through that season and to understand fully what he was trying to play with, and how he was trying to be there for the team, it says exactly who he is. I mean, those of us who've had the chance to cover him, interview him, and get to know him, he's a hell of a competitor. He's a hell of a leader. He puts the whole team on his shoulders, and for him to give everything he had until the very end is so Drew Brees. And then to see him and his wife after, that last game, I cried, because they're just a beautiful family. They're very family oriented. They're God-fearing people. And I just was so happy for him and appreciate the fact that I got to cover his career.
Yes, and I second everything you're saying. And when he first got here to the city of New Orleans, I shared this story with you back when we were in boot camp. But the impact he had on our city here in New Orleans, at the time I was a second-year guy at LSU, and coming back and forth to the city, you have somebody that is from Texas but spent their college and their early career in California and out in Indiana with Purdue. And to hear him on the retiring week say what he said about him and Brittany coming down here and Coach Sean Payton taking a wrong turn, and them seeing the real effect and the damage of Katrina, and to be a part of that rebuild process. All the time as athletes, they talk about what we do on the field, but off the field matters too. So, kudos to Drew. He definitely earned it. All right.
Yeah.
So,
And yeah. So go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. I want to hear more from you.
No, I was just going to say, I was at that last game played at the Superdome it was 2005 when Katrina hit, right? I'm trying to think. I've been covering so many games for so long, but the Ravens went into New Orleans to play the Saints, and I was with them because I was a beat reporter with the Ravens in Baltimore at that point. Mm-hmm. And we knew a storm was coming, and they did play the game. They rushed us out, and to kind of be like on the last ship out, before that devastation took place and so many people lost their lives and their livelihood. That was a real emotional time for me looking back, and then to witness the rebuild and what the Saints meant to the rebuild. You can't underestimate how that team, people rallied around that team, because it was the one positive thing to hold the city together, because the city was so devastated. And that's what the NFL is about. That's what football is about, is representing your city and bringing people together. So I felt honored to be a part of that whole story way back. I'm dating myself, but way back when.
Well, you're good. We told him you had 20 plus years experience with this, so that falls right in the story.
Well, I'm only 25, so
and you're only 25. See, Amber, she's telling y'all,
prodigy.
She's a childhood star. Like, she's been doing this since she was a kid. Is what she's trying to tell y'all. Y'all pay attention to this. If you're just tuning into Inside the Trenches, you're listening to Amber Theoharis. Y'all make sure y'all follow her at AmberTheo1 on Instagram and Twitter. Amber's been in the business for a while. Has worked with Total Access at the NFL Network, done some work with Fox, Westwood One. I mean, her resume speaks for itself. And if you go back and listen to this, because earlier she was talking about doing, pandemic brought new stuff for all of us. So she's been working on different animated work, different trivia stuff. So quick wins. I'm proud of you for that, Am. So, okay, while we're on the subject of Drew Brees and the Saints, this week the Saints also signed Jameis Winston, right? And your thoughts, do you like that signing, or did you think they should have maybe looked at Taysom, maybe go a different direction? What's your thoughts on that move?
I don't know if Taysom is, he's going to be the guy. I don't know if he's the would fill that role as an everyday guy. But Jameis Winston, I'm not convinced either, because the old saying, when somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them. I also believe people can change and get better. But how many years are we now? I mean, I'm trying to think back when he was drafted. We've seen 20. I mean, it's been a while. It's been probably at least 6 years, maybe 7. He had a chance to be a starting quarterback in this league over several years. It wasn't like 1 or 2 years, and the turnovers were a major issue. it just, like I said, I don't want to, I do believe people can go into a new system and find success with the right coach. But I don't know if that person is Jameis Winston. I just have never really thought that he would be the guy that kind of puts a team on his shoulders and could do that. So it's a tough time for the Saints, like losing Drew is a big loss. But I don't know if Jameis is the answer.
Yeah, losing Drew is a huge loss, but we could tell it was time. That's the word down here in New Orleans. We could feel especially these last few playoff games. I mean, the year he had in 2018, the MVP year was really next to none. But it's a test that they're going to have to see. I had Patrick Peterson on a show this was back April 2020. So, we were talking and he was talking. I was asking him about the quarterbacks he faced, and he told me that he mentioned Russell Wilson, and then he also mentioned Jameis. And then he's like, now that Jameis had the surgery, he can see better. So we'll see, and we'll go back and listen to this episode, and hopefully for the sake of the city, you're wrong. But hey,
I hope so. I do. I love the Saints, and I love New Orleans. And one of my best friends, Shanika Dabney Henderson, is your VP of production with the Saints. So I'm rooting. She said I have a place to stay during Mardi Gras. So I'm not gonna turn my back on the city of New Orleans. I got to go down there and get me a hurricane.
You need a hurricane.
You guys have?
Who you gonna love that thing?
So I mess with New Orleans.
Yeah.
I love jazz. I mess with New Orleans big time.
Yeah. I want to stay with quarterbacks with you. I know we're inside the trenches. We could talk D lineman all day, you and I. I saw the Bears made a move on Andy Dalton. Did you like it? Like that move?
No, again, Andy Dalton, to me, he's been in the league forever. You know what you're going to get. I don't think, the Bears have some elite offensive system that is going to all of a sudden make Andy Dalton Tom Brady. I'm just speaking real. I've seen a lot in my career, and usually it's like a Drew Brees situation, where you're young and you get drafted by somebody else, you come over and you have an opportunity with a new team. That's when you see a quarterback really flourish under a new situation, but not these guys that have been in the league 6, 7, 8 years.
Right.
And we know exactly what we're going to get. And, the Bears are feisty. I feel bad. Look what they tried to give up for Russell Wilson: 3 first-round draft picks, 2 starters, and a 3rd-round pick. What if I'm Seattle? Bye, Russell. We'll figure it out. But first-round picks are so valuable in this league. Yeah, but I mean, I know Russell Wilson is as well. But to go from, imagine if people, I imagine my friends in Chicago right now just sitting there eating their deep dish pizza, our boy Cole Wright, he's up there, like just sitting there going, we thought we might get Russell and we got Andy Dalton.
Andy.
Okay, cool. Cool.
It almost feels like a Cowboys reject.
I know, right? I know. But I'm happy for the Cowboys who signed, Lock and Dak up.
Yeah, I like that move too. Does Russell leave Seattle? It's tough.
Well,
I know.
If they didn't do it for that, what are they going to do it for?
He's there.
If they aren't going to give him up for that, what do they want? Right. I don't know what else you could offer. I don't think there's a team that's going to offer that or something better. So, I think you absolutely see him in a Seahawks uniform this year.
He finishes that season. Deshaun Watson, obviously a different deal. He's pushing a little more than Russell team is right now. Of course, in his contract, one of the clauses is a no trade clause, and he's trying to force a trade. Does he stay in Houston unhappy, or you think they may loosen up to some possibilities around the draft maybe?
Anything happens when we get closer to the draft. You kind of have, people, like exactly the word you use, they kind of loosen up and realize the reality of situations. It's really tough. You don't want to force somebody to play for you that doesn't want to be there, right? But also that's a major investment for Houston, what they've invested in Deshaun Watson. But if he's such a major investment and you really want him to be there, then you should have treated him better. If you tell somebody they're going to be involved in the day-to-day, not involved, you know, his opinion would be heard. It's not like he's going to be the GM making decisions, but you know, if you tell somebody that, then I'm a big believer of sticking to your word. Yeah. And he has every reason to be upset. He has every reason to be upset. And, you know, I would have been mad the day they traded Hopkins out from under me. That's the day it would have started going downhill for me. Like, what are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do here if you're doing that? So I just think that organization is a hot mess right now. They really don't have a direction. And man, Deshaun Watson going anywhere else, you know, I would wish him luck. Because this is a perfect example that people say that players need to be loyal and finish their contracts. But, you know, who was the guy that Kyle Van Noy, like he was like 1 year into a 4-year deal and they just cut him. So I'm not on that bandwagon of like, you know, what Brett Favre said, just play your contract. No, because that team ain't going to look out for you. That team's going to look out for you. You got to look out for yourself in the end. And I hate to say that, but it's a business. It's not a college football team like loyalty or, you know, it's a business. You've got a certain amount of time where you're in your prime and you can make money, and you've got to put yourself in the best position to do that and have success in a very short window.
You mentioned a team just now that has a lot of ties to the West Bank of New Orleans, where I'm sitting at right now. Arizona, you got Vance Joseph, defensive coordinator out there, doing first-round draft pick last year in the draft, doing all these different things to help out that team and that organization. But you mentioned Deshaun Hopkins going over there. Just in AJ
Green.
AJ Green. DeAndre Hopkins.
You meant DeAndre. Yeah, we know. Yeah. We were just talking to Sean. DeAndre Hopkins, yeah. And then, the Cardinals, I was just thinking the Cardinals might make a little bit of noise. I think you might be able to assume, Fitz isn't there for the, Fitz might be retiring. But AJ and having AJ and now you got me calling Deshaun, DeAndre Hopkins.
My fault. It's contagious.
And then, and then a young Kyler Murray. I don't sleep on the Cardinals.
I don't sleep on
they
them.
They could be they could be interesting.
Defense nice. Got LSU Patrick Peterson still over there locking it up. They have some potential. They just paid Budda Baker. Yeah, it's
right. They got a good secondary. They got potential, and I don't, that division kind of, you don't really know what's going to happen. You don't know where Seattle will be. You don't know where the 49ers will be. So the West, the Rams, I feel like it's all teams that had some success and now they're kind of in that like purgatory area where they could go one way or the other. They're all very similar when you think about it in the NFC West.
Hey, that's off where you at, Am, on that West Coast. I miss coming out to LA. I can't wait to come back out there. That week I was out there working with you guys. I enjoyed that. I can't wait to come back out to LA. Boy, I love you out there.
It's the good life. It's the good life, man. Anytime you want to come out here, it's sunny. I'm looking at it's 73. Not a cloud in the sky, and I'm looking at the ocean right now. So yeah, come on. We'll take you anytime.
We're expecting hail, thunderstorms, flooding here in New Orleans today.
oh no. I'll pray for you all. I will pray for you.
It may rain in New Orleans, but on the other side of town, it never rains. Never rains in sunny California, baby.
Never rains in Southern California. You know what?
Yeah,
that's Tony. So in my USC class, I have 2 Tonys. And I said, all we need is another Tony. And we'd have Tony. Now, one of those kids knew what I was talking about. Now, one of those kids. I said, what year were you all born? 2001. Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, boy, vey. It was crazy.
Well, all y'all around the same age because you 25, they're 21, some of them 22.
We were born. Exactly. I could be their bigger sister, their older sister.
There you go.
So I look at it like that.
So, Ann, before I let you go, we got to do a little sports and entertainment trivia. I mean, this is a good segue right to it. We're talking about it, singing. So, y'all know y'all nickname me Fave, so I want to know, who's your fave? All right. So, the first deal.
Okay, I got it.
You got it, and you
Okay.
it's going to be in a this or that format, like this person or that
Okay.
person, this thing and that thing, right?
Okay.
So first deal, are you going with Boyz II Men or Jodeci? Pick one.
Jodeci. Jodeci.
Jodeci had those hits, even though Boyz II
Jodeci,
Men had it.
I'm older than you. So that was the, you got down to that. There was some personal stuff going on to Jodeci. You were probably a kid, but I was in college. So good memories, man. And that was just true R&B and harmonies. Although Boyz II Men is so great. I love them too, but Jodeci is a special place in my heart. They were grittier. That's why I like them better.
Oh yeah, they were big time, and me being a music lover, I'm familiar with both groups. But like Jodeci was going to go out there and perform. Like Boyz II Men had hits, but Jodeci was going to perform. Okay.
Yeah.
You were with a Motown legend the other day, so I would be remiss if I didn't have this as the next deal because these are two groups he worked with. The Temptations or Jackson 5.
Ooh, you know what? MJ, forever will have a place in my heart, but it's got to be the Temptations. You know what? Actually, Smokey told me that he's going over to see Otis today.
Come on,
So crazy,
that's
two
cool.
legends talking about each other. I know. I was like, this is unreal. But yeah, the Temptations. I grew up to those songs. I danced with my dad to "My Girl" at the wedding. So it just that my mom used to make me clean the house to the Temptations, in all Motown. So I just get happy when I hear it.
And I'm with you on that one. I'm taking Temptations too. All those number one hits. I
Oh
think
man.
that was the change of that genre of music and R&B that really the sound we hear today is still bit from that era. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. All
Sure,
right, so
for
let's
sure.
go a little football here. We'll switch over to some sports. Okay, we're going Walter Payton or Emmitt Smith. Who you got?
I'm going with Sweetness.
Sweetness.
Um, I'm going with Sweetness. Yeah. I mean, I grew up with Emmitt Smith. I didn't really see Walter, Walter Payton died when I was very, very young, but Emmitt Smith was in the early 90s, when the Cowboys were just killing it. So obviously great, but I think Sweetness is one of the greatest players to ever play, regardless of position.
Oh, that's big time. That's huge for Sweetness. Okay,
Hmm.
Drew Brees or Tom Brady?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot because I know this is Louisiana based, but how can you not pick the GOAT? How can you not do that? I mean, it's unbelievable what he has done.
Mhm.
Brady he's a freak of nature. To have that many rings is just ridiculous. So unfortunately, that's not a comparison. Drew Brees has been great, but it's Brady.
Yeah, I'm with you on Brady here in New Orleans, so I'll talk to that Louisiana base along with you. I'm definitely with Brady, and not taking away from Drew's accomplishments. I thought he had a really great career here in New Orleans. You couldn't ask for anything better. First round
Mhm.
Hall of Famer, but for Brady and to still
Yeah.
show us that it's insane. And that Super Bowl was crazy.
Well, I mean, he just put any doubt to rest with he can win without Belichick and the
Hmm.
Patriots. So that took away any question mark or any doubt.
It really did. So we're gonna leave on a little new school right now, kind of a semi new school. All right. Kind of a little old school as well, right? That hip hop that you grew up off as well. So we'll end on
Hmm.
those. Are you going with Jay-Z or Drake?
You called that old school. Oh no, this is new school. I thought you called
It's
that
a
old school. I
mixture
was like,
of
oh
new
my
school and
god,
old
shame.
school.
Well, I
Jay-Z
mean,
still
Jay
dropping
Z
them.
was not. I know, but Jay Z wasn't even old school to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I came up with, Africa Bombata and all that.
Yeah.
Like, so that's
Okay, I
old
got
school.
one
The
of them for
Fat
you too.
Boys. Okay. So, what was the choice? Jay Z and who?
Or Drake. You got Drake or Jay-Z. These are two guys been in the game. Drake's in +10, Jay-Z's in +20.
You know what? I'm gonna go with who I want to listen to right now. I'd rather listen to Drake just because the melody and the like
Mhm.
versatility with singing. But there's nobody harder than Jay Z. I mean, his old school stuff is just get you up off your seat. So yeah.
Okay. Young Boy or Young Thug?
I think I'm too old to answer any of this question. I'd say Young Thug. Yeah, I mean, he does a lot of cool collab. Oh my gosh, I can't speak right now.
What?
Collabos.
Collabos.
It seems like he's on everything with somebody that is somebody. So I'm going Young Thug.
Okay, that's a clean answer. Okay, the last one
Okay.
we're gonna go old school hip hop, right? Right in that little sweet
Mhm.
spot, the era where you was really into music and loving the songs.
Uh-huh.
Rakim or LL Cool J?
Ooh, she said it's again, it's different. Like Rakim was so much harder and such a lyricist, and he was just raw, and LL was smooth and more pop and more commercial, but he was also revolutionary. But I think Rakim, when I just hear Rakim, I go to a different time and place.
I had to disagree with you on that, even though this is the era where I was born, right? I was born in '86,
Uh-huh.
so this is the era where I was born. I got to go LL for the same reason you went Drake earlier. I think with LL, he had the melody and he had the hard rock, the bells,
That's
but
true.
Rakim probably had the hardest song I ever heard in my life, and that's Paid in Full. Start my
Oh, I
mission,
know.
leave my
I
residence,
know.
thinking, how could I get some dead presidents? Man, that's
The
hip hop.
dance.
That touch you
Yeah,
right there. You
I'm
heard
paid
it?
in full. Yeah, I know. He's a bad dude. He was a
That's
bad
lyrics
dude.
right there. That's
Yep,
lyrics.
yeah, for sure. But Faith, this has been so much fun. I love this. Thank you so much.
Man, thank you so much for having me. And as we wrap up the show, I want to say I really appreciate you taking time out your day out there in beautiful California to do this deal with me. Before I
Of
let you go, is there
course.
anything you want our listeners to know? I know they know where to follow you at. Do you have anything they should any projects coming up
Yeah,
they should look forward to?
just download WinQuik app. It's WinQuik without a C in it, and play tonight. We have you can play all day long. You can win free money. You can challenge your friends in trivia. It's really fun. It's free to download, easy. Just go to WinQuik and download it.
Cool. Well, we got to run, Am. I got the Win Quick app. I'm definitely going to have to play that as well. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Y'all, that does it for another edition of
All
Inside
right.
the Trenches. We want to take this time to thank God for for waking us up this morning. Secondly, we want to thank you, the listener, for tuning in, reposting, retweeting, sharing the show with a friend. It's all greatly appreciated. Let's thank our guest, Amber Theoharis, for coming on the show. And we got to get you back on again. Thanks for coming on. Y'all, want to thank all of our sponsors out there, everybody who support the show. And if y'all forget anything we talked about today, remember this. God is love, baby. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Inside the Trenches with Marlon Favorite. Tweet your questions now to @BigFave504. Let's connect on Facebook, Marlon Favorite Senior, and Instagram, BigFave_D-line_guru. Check him out during the week on ESPN New Orleans 100.3 FM or Sports Hangover with Gus Kattengale on SoundCloud and also on the LSU Sports Network app. Remember, God is love.